All right, welcome back to Lost for Words with Lori. Good morning. It is Monday. Monday. It's April 10th. It is 8:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am back for another quick, well, probably not so quick today, but another Lost for Words. So I hope everyone had a great Easter. I know it was Easter weekend. I had to work yesterday morning, which at the part-time gig, which I enjoyed thoroughly. I really enjoy spending time with my regulars at the gas station and doing what I do. It went really fast. I got a lot done. Came home and took a walk, had dinner and hung out and watched some TV. So it was a pretty nice day. I didn't do like Easter dinner per se, which I kind of miss. Back home, I used to spend time with a family, basically friends that are family, every Easter, and they would make ham and all of the trimmings, and we would hang out and have a wonderful celebration. It does appear that my daughter went and did that thing that we used to do, and I got pictures this morning, which made my heart sing. So thank you to my fam back home for being amazing and for keeping me in the loop. I love getting pictures from back home. So I have not been as visible on social media as of late because I've been really busy. And I know that's really strange for a lot of people because, you know, most people live with a digital footprint that's fairly large. They spend a lot of time on the internet. They have social medias. In the culture that I've been immersed in the last, 2 years, it's been YouTube and, sharing stuff out on social media and being a part of all of that. And when things get busy and you tend to steer away from that because you don't have time to sit on social media, people will take notice of that, and to any sort of varying degree. So a lot of people get very comfortable with your presence, and then when you're not there, the automatic assumption is that there's something up or there's something wrong. In my world, it's not that case, but people will reach out and be like, hey, we miss you, or we haven't talked to you, or, you're not around much. Is everything all right? And you get the opportunity to explain to them what's going on in your world. And I've been a force, on, this platform and with my podcast talking about all of the crazy chaos and drama and bullshit that goes on social media and on the interwebs, especially with all of the drama that happened on Toxic Cesspool World since Toby had passed away and leading up to today, and being one of those people who was trying to get out the message to watch for the red flags on social media and in your world, and to work on being the best version of yourself that you can ever be, and working through your traumas and being transparent and having boundaries and expectations that are realistic, and working on your own inner shadow work to get through things and be able to communicate better with your fellow humans. And I've spent a great deal of time doing that here on this platform, and I really am not planning on stopping anytime soon. But that being said, now that, I'm super busy and spring's here and I'm buying a house, and that process is lengthy, and I'm going to be moving and unpacking and getting my space set up. In the process of that, being able to hang out with friends and still work my 2 jobs, I managed to meet another human who I absolutely cannot seem to get enough of their presence right now. And I know most people would be like, oh, new relationships, blah, 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 you spend all your time together. This situation's really no different than anybody else's. When you really enjoy spending time with people, you're going to do it more often. But I guess to be completely clear and transparent with everybody here, I'm a widow. I have suffered a really huge loss, and the grieving journey and the loss journey that you guys have been on with me has been nothing but transparent. And I've been making sure to fill people in on how I feel about all of these things. I've been in therapy. I've been doing podcasts, and I've been doing live streams with my friends about all sorts of different issues. And I've worked really hard to get to the point where I am now. And then getting to meet somebody new and have a romantic interest in somebody was not anything that I had expected. It wasn't anything that I was looking for. But you do get to a point where you realize that you miss companionship, you miss relationships, you miss having somebody to do things with and talk to and hang out with, and you don't want to be the third wheel in other people's, relationships, or feel lonely because people have a partner or have things to do that they get to share with somebody that they really care about. And enter in my new guy, who, by the way, doesn't have a digital footprint, isn't on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, and they do have a Facebook account. However, they aren't tech savvy. They don't have the know-how to do all of the technology things that most of us have been doing for decades and that we're really good at. And in a lot of ways, that's been really refreshing because there's no drama with that. There isn't anybody trolling all of my social medias to worry about whether or not I'm getting attention from people, on whether it's wanted or unwanted. There's no drama there. But even more importantly, being able to practice all of the things that I've talked about on my podcast for the last 2 years, about being transparent, about having healthy expectations and boundaries, and about not settling, about not letting your past define your future. And I've been able to practice those behaviors with a new person who, surprisingly enough, is, in his own life, self-aware and as transparent and communicating as I am, which blows me out of the fucking water because I didn't think that person would exist. And what's crazy is when you tell people, or people would ask you, do you think you'll ever date again? And this is, after Toby had died. Or do you think, it's possible that you could ever fall in love again, or any of those things? And it wasn't really anything that I thought I wanted to do because it's painful to lose somebody that you love. But I would tell people, I would go, well, I'm not going to leave it off the table. If it happens, it happens. And I would tell people these are the things that I'm looking for in another human as far as a romantic relationship. And I was told time and time again that my expectations were too high, that I would never find another human that communicates transparently the way that I do, that is honest to a fault, that is willing to talk and communicate as opposed to throwing a tantrum when they don't get their way. And that, I was being unrealistic in the expectation that somebody out there on a romantic level would be like me. And then I met my guy, out of nowhere. Happenstance, coincidence. We call it synchronicity and serendipity, right? Somebody who came along who enriches my life in a way that I never thought was possible because they respect all of my boundaries. They listen to me. They communicate with me. They understand that I'm not perfect, and that I've got trauma and baggage just like they do. But it's something that it's to be talked about, not ignored. And I'm baffled. I'm blown away by the fact that communication and transparency works, and it works well. And you can, my expectations weren't unrealistic, even though people would have told me that they were, and that I couldn't expect another human to be on that same level. And yet I have found somebody who will communicate openly, who will be honest, who isn't overtly possessive or jealous, and who is willing to be trusting. And it's refreshing. It's amazing. And I'm just gutted. I can't frickin' believe it. Because in the last month that I've been hanging out with this new human, I've found the things that make me happy. I've found the joy that I need in my world, on my terms, with another person who's wanting to just take it day by day and live one day at a time and not sweat the big shit. Wants to take care of the small things, wants to just go that way in the sunset, wants to hang out and have adventures. And yeah, even talk about feelings, talk about past experiences, talk about watching movies and relating to situations and shedding tears over things that tug at the heartstrings. And it's a pretty crazy experience to feel so close to somebody when you haven't had that in a long time, in such a short period of time. And again, the consensus being from the people that have been on this journey with me so far of, are you moving too fast? Or, how do you know? Blah, blah, blah. And to be fair, I don't really care. Whether it's fast or slow, I know how it makes me feel. And I know that I can be authentically who I am in any situation, in any moment. And I don't have to feel ashamed. I don't have to apologize. I don't have to feel scared to just be me around this human who, came into my world, and we're developing some serious emotions for each other. And you know what? I was more, I think, concerned about feeling guilty. Like, I lost my fiance. He died. And how long are you supposed to sit and grieve for that, or feel guilty if you meet somebody else, or any of that? These are the questions that a lot of people goes through their head, especially when they lose a loved one. But upon talking with my therapist and working on me and trying to find the things that make me happy, I'm finding the ability to care, to breathe, to be myself, and remember the things that I enjoy doing and wanting to do them again, because it is more fun to do them with somebody else, but yet not being afraid of the future, not being afraid to take any next step, and not overthink it, not worry about it, as long as the fundamental values that I have of being authentic and transparent and having solid boundaries about what I will and will not tolerate, and being able to communicate those things effectively. And it's not always going to be perfect. I'm not always going to communicate effectively, but I have somebody around who's willing to listen, to calmly and rationally sit down and talk about feelings and emotions, and about the way things are, in a positive, healthy environment where I don't feel like I need to compromise or lose a part of myself just to make somebody else happy. And it makes me really proud. It makes me really happy that I've come to this point in my life, and will keep continuing. I'm still going to therapy. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still taking care of my self-care, my best interests, my mind, body, and spirit, and still going to live one day at a time. It's just really cool to be able to have somebody to share that with, and be excited and optimistic for a future, and look forward to all of the good, fun things. My calendar is filling up, because I complained to my therapist for months that I didn't want to just sit around and stare at four walls and have an empty calendar. And in the last 4 weeks, I've done more probably than I have in the last 6 months, for lots of reasons, but it feels really good, and it feels good to be on that path, and feel positive and optimistic. So yeah, my digital footprint is there, but I'm not as available and accessible on the social medias anymore, and I'm grateful for that, because, as I've preached to the choir before, social media shouldn't be a replacement for your first world. It should not be a replacement for real life. A distraction, maybe a good place to still communicate with your friends, but for me, social media was a placeholder while I worked on me, while I worked on myself, while I figured out what I needed to do for the next step on my path and my journey. And I'm grateful that I'm finding that, and that it's going to continue to move and grow and evolve and change. But honestly, I'm excited for the first time in a long time. to keep working on being the best version of Lori that I can be. And I'm super grateful. I'm grateful to my friends, my closest friends, my confidants, the people that I look to for advice, the people that listen to me vent, and who support me, mind, body, and spirit as well, without judgment. And I couldn't be more grateful for that, because they've watched me heal, they've watched me learn, and they've learned too, and we've all learned together. And they're all pleased and they're happy that I'm in a space where I feel comfortable and safe enough to have feelings that I haven't felt for another person in a long time. And it's pretty damn neat. I look forward to all of the good things that are coming this year. And like I said, it's an ongoing, evolving mission for me to just be the best version of me that I can be. But I'm grateful. And I wanted to express that today, because I know people have questions. A lot of people are like, well, who's this new guy? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I told him I wasn't going to out him on social media and blast him to the world and the universe until I felt that he was ready to deal with that. Because when you are on social media, you're open to criticism. You're open to scrutiny. And like I've preached before, people aren't going to like your situation, your life, your deal. And you don't have to care. I care what the people who know me the best think. And I will listen to their offerings of advice or opinions. But at the end of the day, I can only do what makes me happy. I can only continue on the path that works best for me and enriches my life. But I'm looking forward to all of the things good that are coming. I close on my house in 17 days. I'm moving. I get to create my space. I'm going back to getting my health back in order. I'm seeing a doctor, trying to get the severe issues that I have under control. And looking forward to just living, to experiencing life on my terms, the way that I wish to experience them, with the love and the support of the people around me. And that makes me happy. So at the end of the day, you have to remember that holding solid boundaries and communicating effectively, being authentic and transparent works. And it can work. And as long as you keep moving in a direction of things that serve you and not people please other people, you will continue to find those places and those moments in your life where you will have joy and happiness and optimism. So I hope everyone had a great Easter. It is Monday. I have a crazy week coming up between work. I have to go into the office 3 days this week. I've got a whole bunch of things that need to get accomplished to get ready for closing, finish packing. I've got just so much on my plate. I'm still available. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Email. If you're friends with me on Facebook or any other social medias, you can definitely check in there. I appreciate everybody's support of me, my journey, my podcast, my whatever that I do. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to keep people updated as life happens, and continue to collaborate with friends and talk about all of the subjects that we've been talking about. That doesn't stop. I just look forward to doing more of it in person as opposed to on a social media platform and documenting those journeys, and then sharing them with the people that are interested in that. So, as always, guys, wash your fucking hands. Be a good human. I'll catch y'all soon.